Hey Dad! Alright, so here is my story about that I was reminded of by your quote, or by what you wrote. May all of our action and inaction be directed by your command, O Lord, by your word, by your mouth. Help us to hear your word and to obey it. And so this is something that I've been, thinking about and experiencing lately in a cool way. So I'll just tell a story. So the other day I'm watching that Heidi Baker video, the one that I sent over to you, and excuse me, it was pretty cool. And I feel like I'm in a pretty close place with God. I'm really feeling impassioned, and the same sort of you know how it is when you feel like you pick up on threads of your Christian walk that have like fallen off in certain ways, and kind of takes you back to like, oh yeah, like this is who we are, this is what we're doing. Anyway, I was in that place, and but I see I've got class coming up. It's basically like a late lunchtime class, so on those days, I just head over to the dining hall early, eat lunch by myself, and then go to class. So I head over there to, do the chore of eating the lunch before class, and walk in, and I see it's chicken tenders, and I'm like, ooh, I like chicken tenders. That's a good lunch day, and but I feel God tell me like, nah, you don't want that. And I was kind of like, nah, I do want that. God's like, now go order the lunch special. And I was like, lunch special? Alright, so I go into the kitchen, and I look and see what the lunch special is, and it's a ham sandwich. And I don't even eat ham because of my I got kind of turned off to it by reading the Old Testament and like 4 Maccabees and that kind of stuff, I just kind of didn't want it, and then probably there's some other ridiculous garbage in there why I don't eat ham. But at any rate, so I'm like, okay, whatever, God, ham sandwich, it is, circle the lunch special, turn it in. And I go back out, I'm like, well, can I at least have one chicken tender, And God's like, yeah, go ahead, of course. So I take the chicken tender, and I see that there's these veggie quinoa patties that are there too that look pretty good. So I grab one of those too. And then just then my order comes out like pretty much instantly. Like they either already had one made or they made the sandwich just like pow, 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 pow. And so I go and I grab the sandwich, and I take the burger, the chicken tender, and the sandwich out to a nice sunny table outside, and I sit down to eat. So first I decided to take a bite of this veggie quinoa burger. And like I said, I was kind of in like a, I guess you could say, more spiritual state anyway. But so I take a bite of this burger, and I put it in my mouth, and it's just like ashes in my mouth, I was just like, whoa, like, why do I ever eat, like, food is this disgusting human process, eating was just repulsive to me. I was like, I don't even want to ever eat again, like, much less eat this lunch, I was prepared to just like stop right there, but I was like, well, let me try a bite of the chicken tender. So, I cut a little bit off, I take a bite, and I'm like, okay, well, like, I could technically, like, keep my body alive with this, like, I guess that's what the food is for. Like, this will technically keep me living if I just grind it up with my teeth into a nice chicken gummy paste and swallow it. And so, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I'll eat this chicken for lunch. And anyway, I'm like, well, alright, let's try a bite of the sandwich. So I take the sandwich, I try a bite, and I'm just like, whoa. There are so many flavors in this sandwich, like inexplicably many different delicious flavors that I really, really did not see coming. And my honest reaction, I was just like, oh, this is life, like, I can taste it all. And my perspective on food is just like, whoop, like, wait, suddenly, like, actually, this is amazing, and so of course I realized, you sort of make the connections because God's making it very obvious, that it wasn't the things themselves that were good or bad, It wasn't that it was a good sandwich. That's what I realized. You know what I mean? It's it's not an inherently good sandwich, I guess. At least that's what it seemed like to me. that it was in following God and doing things with God, that it became good. That's why the chicken tender was like any good at all, because it was my plan, but still kind of with God. That's why I was like, well, then technically I'll stay alive with this. The one that God wasn't involved with at all was just like ashes in my mouth, like I said. And then, of course, where God led me, was life. And so it definitely, makes you think of like my food is to do the will of the one who sent me. Yeah, that's the true bread, which leads to life. And it's funny that Jesus actually chose to convey that metaphor of the true food which gives life using food, because that's what for humans we understand to give life, and that God decided to do it the same way, in this example in my life. So anyway, that's that story. It was really fun. So basically what I want to try to see now if I can abandon as much as possible the system of evaluating things that I've sort of inherited from the world, of looking at its qualities and its effectiveness and all these kinds of things, to try to figure out what the right choice is. It turns out that that's pretty much a futile act, and I think it only ever produces any life at all because of God's grace, But it's really, whether it's with God is whether it's good and whether it leads to life. So that's how I need to make my decisions from now on, even as scary as that might seem to my worldview, of like, no, like, that's not how you make decisions, but it is, like, it really actually is. So, yeah, I mean, it's like just more of the same, this revelation, but more of the same of this is always really, really good. So, anyway, that's what I was reminded of by your quote that you experienced during Lectio Divina. So thanks for letting me share my story. Alright, love you. Bye.